All right, guys, today we are going to be doing a PSA submission from start to finish. That's right. I'm going to step you through the process of being able to do your own PSA submissions, including going onto the PSA website through my account and showing you how to set this up. So today we are going to step you through what I do, and we'll go on from there right after this. All right, guys, so today I'm going to walk you through all the steps. I want to kind of help people that are new to PSA submissions. Sometimes it can be a little bit daunting or scary to be able to go through this process, but it's really not as bad as you think. Just some care and some overall just being careful about how you present yourself with these cards and handle yourself with it at the end of the day will go a long ways. So today I will step you through starting with how I prep them and get them into the card savers, all the way through the submission form, and then of course coming back and actually doing the packaging to ship out. So I'm trying to be very inclusive on this video, so it's going to be a little bit of time. So if you guys want, sit back, relax. I'll also try and put down the titles below. So if you want to jump ahead to a certain point of this video, you definitely can do that also. So we'll go ahead and give you the jump points also. I understand that you're going to want to maybe just see how to fill out the forms or how I do the cleaning and the setup and then all those kind of things. So once again, we'll go ahead and check that out. But first of all, let's go down to the table. Okay, guys, so now we're down here on the mat, and of course I clean all the mat, and I use these are just a little microfiber cloth, so there's no lint, and they're very, very soft. I mean, my hands are sometimes a little bit on the rough side, and they actually cling to this. One thing that some people will say is that you should wear gloves. I do not wear gloves when I'm dealing with cards, especially because I feel like it gives me the inability to really feel the cards, and I'm always afraid I'm going to damage it by doing so. So it's one of those things that's kind of your discretion. If you want to use gloves and you feel comfortable doing it, go ahead. I just wash my hands really well with Dawn before doing all this, and then I don't touch anything when I'm coming down here. I just wash my hands with Dawn, and I come down to my room and I start going through the process of this. So what I did is right before this, the only thing I've touched really is my mouse at this point, but this card in particular is not going to go for grading, and I will explain why when we get there. So what I do is I typically take the cards and I usually do a good examination. I'm not going to go into this because I did it for my AGS submission, and I'm not going to go through that again on the channel. But this one, I usually typically look at them, and I have a scope too that I actually use where I go through and actually check the centering on it. This one was slightly off center, a little bit off from top to bottom. Nothing crazy. It probably would have been one of those ones that I still might have submitted because it would be right on that where I would consider the line. The only issue that this one really had at the end of the day, and I don't know if it'll be able to pick it up, I couldn't see it very well with my eye, and to be honest with you, the only way I found it was with a black light. So if you guys got a black light, you would be amazed at the amount of things you can see on the surface and whitening and things like that that you can't see visually with just your normal vision or with a normal light that you can see with a black light. So I highly suggest finding a black light. It really is a big assist. But right in here, there's a dent. There's actually a mark like there was something sitting on the card. Either it was debris in the package or in processing or something happened. There's just a little bit of a speck right there, and that would really hurt my surface grade. And on this card, there's not really, if it goes below a PSA 9, I'm not going to even, I won't even break even on it. So there's no point in sending a card that I don't think will get a 9 at the minimum, but hopefully get that 10. A 10 is going to, of course, make that even worth more. So overall, this card, I'm going to show you on this one, I go through and I check the edges for whitening. I go everything. The one thing that I do is I put the cards down on my mat, which is I clean with the mat with this, and then I just very softly clean all of the edges on the card. That's all I do. And then I take the card, I slide it to the edge of my mat. Of course, you can't see me do it off the edge of the camera. And then I do the same thing on the front. The only reason I'm doing that is I'm removing any lint, debris, or anything like that. Now, like I said, this is extremely soft, so it doesn't really cause any scratches or micro scratches. I've checked afterwards. It has no bearing on that at the end of the day. If you're not comfortable doing that, some people are not, don't do it. It's as simple as that at that. If you're not comfortable doing something on here, definitely don't be afraid to skip, the cleaning steps or something like that. Sometimes you don't need it. To me, I try and remove all of my potential fingerprints from oil from when I open these things, because most of them are taken out, packed fresh, thrown right into a sleeve, and then they're protected. But lint, dirt, dust, any of that stuff can really affect the grade, or in shipping, it can actually make marks and little micro dings and things on there that under a black light you will see. Now, I use these, and these are what we call Perfect Fit from Dragon Shield. I like these a little bit better than your standard penny sleeve. They're a little bit thicker. It's a little bit more protection. You got to remember, these are getting shipped in the mail. I do slip it inside, and this is where I like having no gloves, because I can feel this complete process where I just lightly slide it into the Perfect Fit. So there we go. We are inside of the Perfect Fit. And once again, it's all in there, nice and neat, nice and clean. The next thing that we got here that I use are going to be these card savers. Now, these card savers, you can either buy them brand new. I tend to try and find lots of them for sale on eBay or, you know, around different sites. I look for used ones because I'm going to send these out. It's not like I'm using these to display or hold the card up so people can see it. I'm really just sending them to PSA, and I've never gotten these back once they go to PSA. I'm sure that's probably who I'm buying them from on eBay, but, you know, at the end of the day, this is a good way just to get them there, be sure that they're safe. So then I kind of center it inside of there, and I hold it up like that. So there we go. Now it's in the card saver too. That's pretty much the process of getting these prepped. Like I said, use black light, check for that whitening, check the edges, and then of course look at the centering. This one, like I said, it would have been on the edge for the centering, but that ding on the back definitely took it out of contention. It was possibly going to come back at a 6 if they do catch that. So I don't want to risk it. It's just not for the amount of profitability on this. Getting anything below a 9 just is not going to be worth sending. So once again, I just want to go through that process. So that's realistically the first process that we go through when it comes down to it. The next thing we're going to go into now is moving on to the actual PSA website. So let's go kick over to that screen. All right, guys, now that we're over here, this is just a submission page. So if you have first time the PSA submission page, my account has of course, the PSA membership to it, so I can get the $15 grading here in March. If we look at here, typically I've just skipped a few things because I've got the list of all of my submission numbers and things like that. No offense, want to keep them a little bit on that private side. But if you want to start a submission, typically if you log into your account, right above my head, there is typically a spot where it would say submissions, you know, with a plus sign on it. It's a big green button that says submissions with a white plus. Not real difficult to find, very standoutish. It stands out on the page really easily. Next thing you do is you go in and it'll come up to your submission page. That'll show you a list of your current submissions, and then also gives you that, you know, create a new submission. You just click that tab and it brings you to the first page here that you're really going to be dealing with, which is going to be the item type. Now, the item type that we're going to use is just a regular. This is a regular TCG card. You've got the supersized cards. Of course, you can look at the different size and the range for that. You got the T3 cards, jumbo cards. Of course, if you want to do a jumbo card, I've never graded one of those personally. Coins and pins. You can do coins and pins. You can do packs, tickets. Jumbo tickets for really large ones from different stadiums and events, and then you got the Funko Pops down at the bottom. We're just going to do the top one that you can see with the blue spot. That one's going to be the one that we're looking at. Now, next one we're going to come into is the grading service. Now, we got grading, review, crossover, and reholder. Of course, a reholder is if you're taking a damaged PSA holder or slab, you can send it in, or scratched up, you can send it in and it'll reholder it for you. You can do a crossover, so if you got a Beckett or a CGC and you want to get it graded into PSA, you can also send them just the full slab and they will regrade it into PSA. You got the review, and the review is just, I believe, is just to look it over and verify that it is that actual PSA. I've never used the review function, so I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know what the review does. I've never really done anything in it. And the last one is the grading. So today we're going to be doing the grading function, of course, and going with that. Moving into it now, you're going to go into the type of grading that we're doing. So there are a total of 5 different options that you can pick from. And I'm going to start at the bottom because the top one's going to be one we pick. You can do a dual service card and autograph grading. So they will grade an autograph and the card and authenticate the whole both of them for you. So you get full authentication and you get full grading of everything in that card. Next thing you got is a dual service autograph grading only. So they only grade the autograph and they authenticate the card and the autograph. So that's all you're getting is authentication of the card and then grading the actual signature and authenticating the signature. Next one you got is a dual service grading card only, or card grading only. You're going to get the autograph, the authentication. You're going to get the autograph grade is not going to happen. You're not getting that on this particular card, which is what you see a lot of people do on PSA cards too. If they do have a graded on the sleeve or something like that, they will not autograph or grade the autograph. They'll just authenticate it. So you're going to get the authentication of the autograph, the card, and you're going to get grading of it. Last one you got here is dual service, no grade or card. They will just authenticate the card and the signature, but no grading at all will be done. Of course, today we are going to be doing no authentication of autograph, no autograph grading. We are going to authenticate the card and get the card graded. That's the top one. That's the one typically comes up already picked. Once again, this is pretty much your typical go through, but I just wanted to go over this for you guys once again in full. So if you got any questions. Moving up to the next step of this. Hit next, we're going to come up in here. So when you pop into here, it's got these different options. You could do a lot of expensive different styles. You know, you got value bulk down in here. And today we're doing TCG because right now it's the specials on a TCG. Now, I'm going to be a little bit upfront about how I would proceed with this. The Lugia Vs are a very interesting one because the declared value per item seems to be based on the graded value of that particular card. I don't like doing that because I don't know what the grade's going to be coming back. And if it comes back as an 8, guess what? It's not worth that much. But if you pick the regular, you're going to pay the regular, or the value plus is $490. It's $500. If the Lugia comes back as PSA 10 right now, going market is $450. So you could sit there and say, if these two Lugias got 10, I should put $400 to pick the value plus for this one. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it at TCG because the raw card value is $185 roughly for that Lugia V. So I'm going to leave it there. And what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen is that PSA is going to come back and upcharge me for that particular item. For the cost difference, I would just let her go and see what's going to happen with it at the end of the day. That's just my personal preference. Sometimes they upcharge you, sometimes they don't. Some people would say I'm cheating the system. That's not my intention. My intention is not to cheat the system at the end of the day. My intention is to try and minimize the cost. If these come back as 8s and I pay the $40 and they come back as 8s, I just spent way too much money on these cards. And that's all it comes down to. So once again, I would rather have them come back and upcharge me because the price is too low than actually pay too much because the grades don't come back what they are. That's just me. Some people are, maybe they want to say they're more honest, or some people just want to get that protection because that value plus does give you a little bit more protection on some of these cards when they come through. So what you got to do now, we're going to get into this screen. This is going to be add a new line. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and just say we've got this Radiant Charizard sitting here on a table. So we're going to enter that Radiant Charizard into here. There's one of two ways that you can do this. You can either A, do the quantity of 2 and then put the declared value inside of here. I personally like to do it 1 by 1. Once again, this is all a preference at the end of the day. And once again, I'm coming down to that Lugia one. If you put 2 of them, you're going to put a declared value of way over $199. I don't know if it affects it or not if they divide it out. To me, it's just simpler too when I'm actually loading these into the card sleeves and getting them into the packaging, that we actually just lay them in order. Very simple, very easy to do at the end of the day, just to do one, just like this. I can sit here and I like to put in the year when I do this. So I know Pokemon Go was released in 2002. So I'll put in 2002 and I will put in Radiant Charizard. And you can just type in Radiant. You can do whatever you want. So what I do then is I grab the card. So I'll take the card itself and I will check the number on the bottom. So just check the numbering of the card just to verify everything. And make sure you grab the right language, because there is Chinese, there's Thai, Korean, Indonesian, Japanese. There's all these different languages too that you got to be careful of. We're doing a Pokemon Go 011 Radiant Charizard. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. That's going to come up. It's going to ask you the declared value of this particular card. Right now, this card last sold on TCG Player was $17. Now, once again, some people would say, what would you want to do? Well, if this thing gets a 10, you could say, well, right now the going rate for this card as a 10 is actually going to be, $68 if you get a PSA 10 on this. I don't know if it's PSA 10 is 68. I'm throwing that number out there just to be clear so someone doesn't come in a chat and say, or comments and go, oh, it's not 68. Yeah, I know it's not. I just picked that number. So yeah, that's the declared value could be the PSA 10 version. It's up to your discretion. I just do it by the card value. If these were to get lost for some reason at PSA or damage at PSA, they're going to pay me $17 for the Charizard card. That's fine by me. Some people would say put in $15. I don't know. It's, once again, it's your discretion. So then you go ahead and you do that. You're going to hit save. So now you've got that as a submission. So now I've got the 2022, you know, we're going to go Radiant. You can hit Radiant Blast. So you just start typing it in. And of course, I know it's at 0. It's an 018. So we're going to put in 018. That Blastoise is going for $12. We're going to go ahead and add that into there. So there you go, guys. You're going to continue to add these in. You know, you're going to continue to layer these through and go continue that submission. When you're done with that, you're going to see here, there's, you know, your 2 items, $15, and it gives you a total right below my face over here. Hit next. And it's going to tell me, of course, I got to do 10 of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and just throw in a bunch of Radiant. Just to save time. Nope. Let's do this just to save time. I know I don't normally do this, but we're going to do it this time. Because in order to get the $15 promotion that is currently out there right now, you need to have at least a 10 card submission. So if we go here, I'm going to add that Radiant Charizard again. I'm going to say that there's 8 of them this time. And this is where your declared value should be equivalent to that quantity number. FYI. So if you go through this and you actually go to declared value, is going to be a total of, you know, let's just say $150. Cover it. Just to get through this, hit save. So there's my declared value for the 8 cards. We're going to go ahead and do the next button on this. And if you come into here, it's going to ask you, do you want to ship it to the official vault of PSA? Some people send it to the vault. Once again, your discretion on what you want to do. I personally have everything sent to me. I personally want this stuff in hand. And this is where I kind of skipped over part of it here and went into it. So you can go into the grading, you know, I got to add my credit card number and all that information. It tells you where to ship it. Tells you what kind of shipping you want. I just do the insured shipment. I'm not in a huge rush to get these back. You could do the express mail or the FedEx in order to get it quicker at the end of the day. So we'll go with that. I'm not going to go any further. So if you click next on this, it's going to take you to confirmation. You're going to get confirmation, and then you're going to get this particular slip here, which is going to be the submission right here. So this is going to be your submission form that you're going to get. It's going to be a PSA form. You know, I'm going to have this blurred out above my head, but this is going to be your submission number at the end of the day. It's going to have the date of submission, and it's going to say it's good for 30 days. So you have 30 days to take this submission and get it clicked and sent out and done and get them to them. If you don't do that and they kill the $15 promotion or something like that, and it goes back to the $19 or $20, they will just prorate you that difference, or they will kick the submission out. So you're going to get some of this information. There's a label. Once again, you'll be able to track this. I'll blur some of this stuff out, and you're going to have to make your own packaging and things like that. So basically just follow the steps at this point for the actual submission. It's really not that difficult at this point to be able just to follow the shipping and all that. Now, the next thing that I want to go over is I'm just going to kick back over to the other screen for you guys, is the actual packaging of this. So the packaging depends on how many you're going to be submitting. So this particular grouping here is 14 cards in here, and I'm going to still add to this one. But what I typically do is I've got these bubble foam mailers right here. And some people rubber band these together. I mean, I've never had anybody have any problems with doing the rubber band on this. Some people say it squeezes right here and can make pressure marks and things like that. I've done the rubber bands in the past. For me, what I found is that these packages can hold about 20 of these things in here with no problem. So I just push them into here, right into this nice little bubble mailer. Of course, make sure that they're all down evenly inside the packaging. I'll take it, I'll fold it over, I'll pull the thing, and I will go and glue that down. To me, it's automatically giving me an extra boost of protection with the bubble mailer. Number two, it keeps them from shifting around inside of this bubble mailer. It's fairly snug inside of here. And it also just gives me that, you know, the ability for them just to be able to pull out the whole submission of one thing out of the box. Next thing I will do is I will go through different boxes in the house or through my business and find a box that fits this. Of course, the smaller the box that you can find that fits this, the more that you can actually save on the shipping. Once again, shipping costs is another big effect at the end of the day. I didn't find a box particularly for this one yet, but that's what I would do, is find a box and then whatever foam you have to put in there just to protect this from moving it around again. And then you got to go on to, I use Shippo, and I create a shipping label, put the PSA's address into there, and create an actual shipment based on the weight and the size of the box, and you send that off. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, it seems pretty daunting, I know, for first timers when it comes down to it. And the first submission you do is going to get kind of nerve wracking and kind of probably make you a little bit nervous. But at the end of the day, it's not that bad to get done. Just be sure that you're washing your hands if you're going to be handling the cards. Get that oil off your hands. You don't want to be putting that on there. Of course, use the microfiber. Some people may frown upon that. That's personally what I do, and it hasn't caused any issues yet to any of the cards that I've done. It just removes any kind of fingerprints or any kind of dust or debris that might be left on those cards, because sometimes that dust and debris gets left in there and they may grade it based as a bad spot on the card. If they're visually looking at these cards for 3 to 5 seconds a piece, anything or any kind of debris that's on there could be misrepresented. So I try to get rid of it. Then just put it into a card saver. I use the Perfect Fit sleeves from Dragon Shield. Once again, it's a preference. Some people will just send penny sleeves. I've seen it both ways. I like the added protection of the Dragon Shields. Once again, I do enjoy those particular sleeves because they do give that protection when it's being stacked in and pushed together in shipping and in the boxes and in the packaging. So these are just things to keep in mind. They're just little tidbits and things that'll help you along and kind of trying to preserve the packaging and the cards the best you can, because every little ding, scratch, or anything like that will deter from the actual overall grade. So once again, guys, hopefully this is some good information. Hopefully, if you're looking at doing some submissions, hopefully this helps you through all the different processes that you're going to be looking at and how to kind of walk through all of them. The biggest thing I've learned is put the year that the set was released. That seems to be a huge help when you're really trying to find what card is which. And then, of course, the card number put in there a lot of times helps also. So if you put that card number and you put that submission, put the year of the card, put in if it's a VMAX, that really, really does help you sort that down. If you're going back in time, there's EXs and all those other ones too that kind of determine. Sometimes if you get in the WotC era though, Charizard can be a lot of Charizards, so that's where that year can really help determine where that was actually at on the list and help you find it a little bit quicker at the end of the day. Typing in Charizard can be pretty daunting sometimes in the older card sets because they were all Charizards. So that's just one of those things to keep. I mean, you got shiny Charizards, but you could type in Charizards and see a lot of them. So putting that year will really assist you on getting these submissions done a little quicker. So overall, guys, hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes it a little bit less daunting for you. And of course, I said I will put down below the breakdown so you can just skip around to the video. So if you have questions or want to look at something that I did in the video, you can definitely just click back to that section and check it out again. Other than that, hopefully this helps you out once again when it comes down to your Pokemon endeavors and journeys. And other than that, guys, if you have made it this far into the video, be sure that you hit that like button. It's a huge help to the videos to help and hit that like button. Also, of course, if you made it this far and you've stuck with me through this far into this part of the video, hit that subscribe. That subscribe is great for the channel to keep us moving right along. And other than that, if you do like this kind of content, I will put up, of course, the 2 videos next to me, as I always do for you guys. And I will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.